Hi guys, and welcome to another build video. Today we're actually going to be, apart from one item, which is the hard drive, we're going to be utilising all the parts I picked up in the Facebook Marketplace purchase. This is the first build I've done that's completely, apart from one item, all Facebook Marketplace items. So we'll go through them and then we'll do a time lapse of the build, and then I'll cut to Windows installed and we'll see what we've got. So first off is the MSI board with the Intel E7200 2.53 GHz dual Core2 Duo chip. We've got 3 gig of LP to RAM. Now I first thought this was actually two 2 gig sticks. It's not. It's a 2 gig and a 1 gig stick. We've got onboard graphics, we've got VGA and we've got HDMI. We're just going to use the VGA out today as a test. We're basically putting this machine together just to get the Windows 7 license back on it, because this board actually came out of an old Medion machine, and all the CPU and the RAM, it's all the original hardware. So the Windows 7 license will go straight back on it. I may end up having to ring Microsoft just to get it reactivated, because it is a new hard drive. We have got the I/O plate for the motherboard as well. I have done a pre-assembly test on the CPU, motherboard and RAM on a monitor, and I did get into post and it shows all the right figures. So I know this works. Power supply wise, we've got an old nasty, but it's got a fan in it, which is better than nothing. It's an old Sumvision P4 400 watt. It's got the important things on it. It's got the 4-pin EPS. It's got a 24-pin. It's got a SATA connector. The rest are all Molex. However, I do have in my toolbox some Molex to SATA converters, because there's going to be 2 SATA devices in the machine when I've finished. So I'll be getting one of my Molex to SATA converters in for the other drive. So that's that. Hard drive wise, we've got Seagate Barracuda 160 gig 7200 RPM mechanical SATA hard drive. Purchased through eBay, 100% tested and verified, so we're not going to have any problems with that. We also have, as an optical drive, we've got an LG DVD rewriter. Basically because, as you can see, there is a hole in the case, and I need to fill it with something. So, because I haven't got the blanking plate for it, so I'll be putting that in. Some people do still like to have an optical drive in the case. Move these out of the way. Case wise, it's a rather generic case. It's an old Novatech generic build case, which I've stripped all of their markings off. And I have actually, I don't know if you can see it there, I have actually put an extra 80mm case fan in the front, because there was only an 80mm case fan in the back originally. So I put an 80mm in the front just to give it a bit of neutralisation on the airflow. We're not going to have positive pressure, but at the very least we'll have neutral pressure, so there shouldn't be too bad of a dust build up on the inside of the case once it's all up and running. So yeah, that's all the parts. Tools wise, the ubiquitous cable ties for doing what cable management I can, bearing in mind there is 0 space behind the motherboard mounting plate. Screwdriver, side cutters for slipping the cable ties back, and I've got a box of miscellaneous screws for motherboard screw downs and hard drive screw downs and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll get on with the build and see where we go. As you can see, it is now built. I haven't done any cable management yet because I want to make sure that the machine boots up and I can get Windows in. Once Windows is in, I'll do what cable management I can, because like I said, there's not a lot of space behind, well, there's zero space behind the motherboard mounting plate, and also that back panel is actually riveted in place. It's not screwed in, so I can't even get behind. So all the cable management is actually going to be done in the main chamber of the chassis. So without further ado, oh, you may have also noticed in the time lapse I didn't connect the rear fan. That's because I found out once I actually installed the board, there is no fan header on the motherboard. I do have somewhere a Molex to 3-pin or 4-pin fan adapter, so I will find that. I'll plug it onto a Molex plug just so I can get the rear fan working. But at the moment, at the very least, I've got a front fan working, so I'm creating a little bit of positive pressure inside the case. So let's get it fired up and see what happens. Right, we've got into BIOS, we've got a hard disk detected, we've got the CD-ROM or optical drive detected. We're showing the E7200 at 2.53 GHz dual core. We're showing 3 GB of RAM. BIOS version is way back from June 2010, but given the age of the original machine, it's not unexpected. So we'll just check. So, quick boot. Right, so okay, so everything seems to be okay. Let's have a quick look at the PC health status. CPU temp 31, system temp 24. Yeah, so we're showing pretty good. We're showing 767 RPM on the CPU fan. Obviously, as the load goes up, that will increase. So we shall save the changes. I'll shut it down. I will get my Windows 7 installation unit. I've actually got it on USB. I'm pretty sure I can launch from USB on this for the install. I'll get Windows 7 reinstalled, and then we'll see what it's like speed-wise. Bearing in mind it is only a 2.53 gig dual core.
Okay,
got
so
3 gig
there we
RAM.
have it.
We've now got Windows installed. I don't know how well it's going to show up on here. So we're showing the Core2 Duo E7200 at 2.53 GHz dual core. Installed memory 4 gig. I actually found in my stock to change the 1 gig stick of Elixir RAM, I found a 2 gig stick of Elpida RAM, same speed, so I swapped that out. Now we're only showing 2.87 gig usable. That's because A, it's 32-bit Windows, and B, it's using some of the system memory for graphics, because we don't have a discrete graphics card in there. So generally speaking, when you've got 4 gig of RAM on a 32-bit system, especially from Windows 7 onwards, it generally tends to show only 3 gig usable, and then I'm using 128 meg for graphics. So I mean, this is never going to be anything fast. It's basically just a little workstation PC, web browsing, bit of office documents and stuff like that. So I am now going to install Avast antivirus, the free version. I'm going to install Apache OpenOffice. I'll install VLC Media Player. I'll install Adobe Acrobat Reader. I mean, as far as the boot up time goes, it's taking roughly about 50 seconds to a minute to boot into Windows 7. I have activated Windows, so it's all ready to go. It's Windows 7 Home Premium Service Pack 1, which is what was actually on this machine originally when it was in the Medion case, which was battered beyond repair when I got it as part of the Facebook deal. So that's why I've actually put it into a different case. Like I say, this was an old Novatech case, or it was a generic case that Novatech had branded up. And then, I don't think they're going anymore. The other thing you may notice is in the back there, the fan isn't spinning. That's because the adapter I had for Molex to PWM was actually a 3-pin Molex to 3-pin adapter, and that's actually a 4-pin fan. So I'm going to whip that out. At least I've got an 80mm fan in the front pulling air in, so it's creating a little bit of positive pressure. I'll take that out. If in the meantime, before I get rid of this machine, I do find an 80mm fan with either a 3-pin PWM plug on it or a Molex plug that I can just hook into the system, then I'll swap it out. But otherwise, in the meantime, there it is, up and running. Relatively cheap build, because like I said, all the parts that I bought from Facebook came as a big bundle at a reasonably good price, and other than the hard drive, which I've had to buy second hand but guaranteed, and it's been running fine. I mean, the install went really quickly, considering there was only 3 gig of RAM in there at the time, and I've upgraded it to 4 gig since, and it's actually only using just under 3 gig for system memory now. The install was actually quite quick, so I'm not going to bother running benchmarks, because Heaven and Cinebench is a 64-bit benchmark anyway. Heaven on this machine, I'd be lucky to get 2 frames per second. Even at low settings, purely because of the minimalist amount of system RAM that's being used for graphics. So there we go, another build done. This one will actually be going back onto Facebook Marketplace as a full system, or just a tower to be sold. The monitor is actually part of my test bench setup that I use when I'm building PCs or troubleshooting PCs, just to test graphic outputs, because I know it's a good monitor. It's an iArmor Pro Lite, so I know it's a good monitor, so I won't be getting rid of that. And obviously the keyboard and mouse is my test bench stuff as well. So yeah, this will be going on to Facebook Marketplace. I'll put a link for that in the description down below. If you enjoyed this, as always, please pop a like on it, hit the subscribe button for more content, and we'll see you in the next one.